Arachnophobia is one of the most common fears on the planet. 1 in 10 people is terrified of spiders to the point of shaking in their knees, screaming and panicking. And you know what? It's understandable. 8 legs, multiple pairs of eyes, silent movement, venomous fangs. It's as if nature specifically designed this creature to evoke terror. But what if I told you that almost everything you think about spiders is wrong? They don't hunt people. They don't come and bite you in your sleep. Most of them are completely harmless to humans. What's more, they are one of the main protectors of our crops, our health, and our ecosystem. Today, we'll explore 100 facts about spiders, from biology to records, from hunting to medicine. After this episode, you'll look at these creatures completely differently, I promise. Let's start with the most important thing. What is a spider anyway, and how does it differ from the creatures with which it is often confused? Most people consider spiders to be insects. This is a fundamental mistake. Spiders belong to the class of arachnids, and they are fundamentally different from insects. Insects have 6 legs and 3 body sections: the head, thorax, and abdomen. Spiders have 8 legs and only 2 body sections, the cephalothorax and the abdomen. It's the same difference as between a fish and a frog. Both live near water, but they are completely different creatures. Spiders' closest relatives aren't flies or beetles, but scorpions, ticks, and harvestmen. All of them belong to the class of arachnids. So if spiders make you uneasy, think again. The tick you picked off yourself last summer is their cousin, and the spiderling with long, thin legs often found in the house is also a member of the same family. Today, more than 48,000 spider species have been officially described on Earth. And scientists are convinced this figure is far from final. Between 100 and 300 new species are discovered every year. Most of them are small, poorly studied, and live in hard-to-reach places. Spiders have colonized every continent except Antarctica, and are found at altitudes of up to 6,000 meters above sea level. They have been found in the Himalayas, above Everest Base Camp. Where there is almost no air or life, they still exist. Platypus as a group are approximately 380 million years old. They have survived every mass extinction, including the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. When there were no flowers, no birds, and no mammals on Earth, spiders were already spinning their webs. This creature is older than most life forms we are accustomed to seeing around us. The first spiders we know from fossils already knew how to produce silk, but they did not yet spin orb webs. Orb webs are a relatively late evolutionary development dating back about 130 million years. Previously, spiders used silk to line burrows, protect eggs, and wrap prey. The ability to transform silk into an architectural trap is one of their greatest evolutionary leaps in the history of arthropods. Among spider fossils, embryo specimens containing spiders up to 100 million years old, frozen in it, have been found. These finds allow us to examine the details of body structure with a precision unattainable in the study of stone fossils. Some pieces of amber contain entire hunting scenes. A spider with prey in a web frozen for eternity. The spider's body is covered externally by a chitina shell, an exoskeleton. This shell serves both as protection and as a skeleton. Spiders have no internal skeleton at all. As the spider grows, its shell does not stretch. It is too rigid. Therefore, the spider is forced to periodically shed the old shell and grow a new one. This process is called molting. During molting, the carapace splits along a special suture. The spider slowly pulls out its entire body, legs, chelicerae, even the inner lining of part of the esophagus, and remains completely soft and defenseless for several hours until the new exoskeleton hardens. During this period, the spider hides as deeply as possible and remains motionless. Spider eyes are a whole other story, deserving a separate discussion. Most species have 8, although 6, 4, and even 2 can be found. Despite this number of eyes, most spiders have paradoxically poor vision. They react well to movement, but have poor detail perception and virtually no color discrimination, unlike us. The main reason is the structure of their eyes. Spiders lack pupils that could regulate the flow of light, and they lack an accommodation mechanism like we do. Jumping spiders are an exception. They have two large central eyes, designed like a true telescope with a telescopic zoom. Scientists have discovered that the retina of these eyes literally moves within the head. Special muscles rotate it in different directions, while the outer layer of the eye remains motionless. This unique design in the animal kingdom allows jumping spiders to see small details at a distance disproportionate to their size, as if looking through binoculars. Spiders' blood is blue. Not figuratively, but literally. Instead of hemoglobin, which makes our blood red thanks to iron, spiders have hemocyanin, a copper-based substance, Bowie adds. It is the copper that gives their blood its bluish tint. Octopuses, snails, and some crustaceans also have this characteristic. Blue blood carries oxygen less well at high temperatures but is more efficient in colder climates, which partly explains why spiders thrive in mountains and temperate latitudes. Spiders breathe very differently from us. Most species have so-called book lungs, specialized organs structured like a stack of thin plates with air pockets between them. Through these pockets, the blood is saturated with oxygen from the air, which enters through small holes in the abdomen. Some species additionally breathe through tracheae, thin tubes that permeate the body and deliver oxygen directly to the tissues. The combination of these two systems allows spiders to tolerate low oxygen levels and significant pressure changes. Spider legs are a true engineering marvel, and a non-obvious marvel. Spider legs have no extensor muscles at all. Spiders extend their legs using hemolymph at pressure, a kind of hydraulics. When the spider pumps fluid pressure into the leg, it straightens. When the pressure drops, the extensor muscles pull the leg back. This is why a dead spider always lies with its legs tucked in. As soon as the heart stops and the pressure drops, the legs curl inward. A living spider, however, as long as it moves, is a functioning hydraulic mechanism. This same system allows jumping spiders to leap with lightning speed. A sudden increase in pressure, and the body shoots forward. I remember catching a spider as a child and putting it in a large glass coffee jar. I poked holes in the lid and threw some grass in. I thought I'd done everything right. I tried feeding it flies, which I'd caught separately. The spider seemed to eat them. At least the flies would periodically disappear and small clumps of web would appear in the jar. It lived with me for about 10 days. And then I released it in the garden, in the same spot where I'd caught it. This was at our dasha in the summer. And that's when I first really looked at a spider up and close through the glass. Oh, it turned out to be a beautiful creature. A clear outline, expressive eyes, precise movements. Not at all like they're depicted in cartoons. Spiders have tactile organs, hairs covering their entire bodies. They react to the slightest vibrations in the air and surfaces. A spider can actually hear with its entire body. When you approach a spider, it senses the vibration of your footsteps through the floor long before it sees you. These same hairs allow the spider to sense what's caught in its web without touching it. It sits in its hiding place and reads the vibrations of the threads like text. A spider's heart is simple. It's an elongated tube in the abdomen with several openings. It pumps hemolymph through an open system, meaning the fluid doesn't always flow strictly through the vessels, but partially washes the organs directly. At the same time, spiders can easily tolerate temperature fluctuations that would be fatal to us. Some Arctic species are active at temperatures around 0 degrees Celsius, and their hemolymph contains antifreeze proteins. The lifespan of spiders varies dramatically depending on the species, and it all starts with the egg. Spider egg cocoons are a remarkable feat of engineering. The female wraps the eggs in several layers of different types of silk. The outer layer is durable and water repellent, while the inner layer is soft and breathable. Some females guard the cocoon for weeks, never leaving it or feeding. Others hang it in a secluded spot and leave. Third, like wolf spiders, they carry it on themselves until hatching. The number of eggs in the cocoon varies from a few in small species to several thousand in large tarantulas. Small house spiders live 1-2 years. Large tarantulas can live up to 25-30 years. A female Goliath tarantula lived 28 years in captivity, a record among spiders. Moreover, females of almost all species live significantly longer than males. After mating, the male often lives only a few weeks. His biological program is complete. The spider's brain occupies a significant portion of the body. In some small species, it literally protrudes into the legs. Scientists have discovered that tiny jumping spiders have nervous tissue distributed throughout their entire bodies, including their legs, because there's simply not enough room in their heads. Yet these spiders exhibit quite complex behavior. They plan hunting routes, solve problems in several steps, and demonstrate what scientists cautiously call elements of thought. And now for what the world knows spiders for: their webs. Perhaps no other animal creates anything comparable in its combination of properties, complexity, and variety of uses. Webs are a liquid protein that the spider produces in specialized glands in its abdomen and extrudes through spinnerets, small mobile organs at the end of its abdomen. When exposed to air, this protein instantly hardens, turning into a thread. The process of transition from liquid to solid is not drying, as is commonly believed, but mechanical stretching. The spider pulls the thread with its leg, and it is this force that triggers the crystallization of the protein. A single spider can have up to 7 different types of silk glands, each producing thread with fundamentally different properties. One thread is sticky, with droplets of glue for the web. Another is strong and non-sticky for supporting cables. A third is soft and elastic for wrapping prey. A fourth is dense and waterproof for the protective cocoon of eggs. A fifth is thin and light for the flight of spiderlings. The spider itself decides at any given moment which type of thread to use, like a craftsman switching between tools. The strength of spider silk has amazed engineers for decades. Spider thread is approximately 5 times stronger than steel of the same diameter. It is also elastic, stretching up to 40% of its length without breaking. Humanity has to artificially reproduce this combination of high strength and high elasticity on an industrial scale, despite a decade of attempts. The record belongs to a Madagascar spider named after Charles Darwin. Its web stretches up to 25 meters across a river. It is the largest web known to science. Furthermore, the threads of this species are twice as strong as the web of any other spider at Toot, making it the record holder for the highest specific strength of any known biological material. This spider's webs have been found stretched just above the water's surface. It uses the river as a trap for insect sets flying over it. The spider doesn't stick to its own web, and this isn't magic, but physics and behavior. First, the spider knows exactly which threads in the web are sticky and which are not, and it moves strictly along the supporting threads. Second, its legs are coated with a special oily substance that reduces adhesion. Third, the spider moves along the web very quickly, so quickly that it simply doesn't have time to stick. If a spider slows down or loses its bearings for any reason, it can easily become stuck in its own web. Building an orb web is a complex operation performed in a strictly defined order. The spider begins by stretching a bridge thread between 2 supports. This is the first and most important thread. Then it adds supporting threads around the perimeter, creating a frame. Then it lays radial threads like spokes of a wheel from the center outward, and only then winds the sticky spiral, moving from the outside to the center. The entire process takes from 30 minutes to an hour. The spider does this without training or blueprints, relying solely on an innate geometric program in its nervous system. Spiderlings, even those who have never seen adult spiders, weave a perfect orb web the first time they try. Webs are an expensive resource.
They also expend a significant amount of protein and energy on their production, so they eat old or damaged webs, returning the material to their bodies for reuse. Eine neue use.
Many species dismantle their webs every morning, and build a new one by evening. This process continues daily. The consumed web is digested. The protein is broken down into amino acids and used to build new threads. It's a virtually perfect recycling system. Not all spiders build orb-shaped webs. This is a common misconception. Among the 48,000 species of architectural styles, many funnel web spiders weave a flat leaf with a tubular hiding place in the corner. An insect falls onto the leaf and slides into the funnel directly to the host's paste. Mice build three-dimensional chaotic webs of randomly intersecting threads. They entangle flying insects in mid-air. Sac weaver spiders weave a tubular sac and sit inside, their legs extended. Each architecture is a response to a specific hunting task and a specific habitat. Have you ever noticed that a spider web in the corner of a room becomes dusty and gray after a long time? That's because a fresh web is almost invisible. It's transparent as glass, making it very difficult to detect without a light. This invisibility is what makes it such an effective trap. Tell us in the comments if you've ever accidentally walked face first into a spider web in the forest or in the garden. I think everyone has experienced this. The water spider is the only spider in the world that spends almost its entire life underwater. There, it builds a true underwater home from its web, an aerial bell. The spider brings air from the surface on its abdomen, where it is held by special hairs, and pumps it under the dome-shaped domes. Inside the bell is dry air, where the spider lives, eats, and reproduces. This is the only known underwater aerial home among arthropods. Young spiderlings use the web for travel. This phenomenon is called ballooning. A spider climbs to a high place, stretches its long threads upward, and the wind carries it into the unknown. This is how spiders disperse over distances of hundreds of kilometers. Spiderlings have been found in the air at altitudes of several kilometers, and in the open ocean far from shore. But recently, scientists have discovered something even more astonishing. Fluffy. Spiderlings are capable of taking flight in completely windless weather using the Earth's natural electric field. The cylinders become statically charged and repel the surface. The spider literally flies on electricity. Webs come in several colors, and this is no coincidence. Most webs are transparent or white, but some tropical spiders spin yellow webs. Scientists have discovered that yellow attracts bees and other insects that fly to yellow flowers. The spider disguises the trap as a flower. There are also types of webs that reflect ultraviolet light. Insects see ultraviolet light better than we do and fly towards these signals, mistaking the web for a source of reflected light. The strength of a spider's web depends on the speed at which the spider spins it. The faster it spins, the stronger the thread. Scientists have found that spiders instinctively adjust their spinning speed depending on the purpose of the thread. Carrier threads are spun slowly and with effort, making them particularly strong. More agile spirals are spun quickly and are more elastic. This is a fine mechanical adjustment that the spider performs automatically. The webs of different spider species are used differently in different parts of the world. In Papua New Guinea, fishermen traditionally weave fishing tackle and small nets for catching small fish from the coarse webs of tropical spiders. The strength of the web threads allows the tackle to support the weight of the prey. And in some countries of Southeast Asia, webs have been used to stop minor bleeding. They have some hemostatic properties. Now about hunting. Here, spiders are greatly underestimated. Not all of them hunt using webs. This is a common misconception. Of the 48,000 species, approximately half catch their prey actively, without webs at all. They stalk, leap ambush, and spit. Each species has its own method, honed over millions of years of evolution. Wolf spiders hunt like true predators, running across open terrain. They don't spin webs, but they have keen eyesight and high speed. Upon spotting their prey, the wolf spider stalks it, catches it, and pounces. After mating, the female attaches the cocoon to her spinnerets and carries it with her wherever she goes. After hatching, the spiderlings climb onto their mothers back and ride there for several days until they are independent. The female continues to hunt with a squirming mountain of young on her back. Bola spider has developed a hunting trick worthy of a book of its own. It doesn't spin webs. Instead, it dangles a sticky ball coated with pheromones, chemicals that mimic the scent of a female of a certain moth species on a long thread. Different species of Bola spiders mimic the pheromones of different moth species. The male moths are drawn to the scent and are caught on the sticky ball. This spider literally fishes with a live pheromone bait. What's particularly striking is that at different times of day, the same spider changes the chemical composition of the bait, mimicking the pheromones of different moth species that fly at different times of the night. The spitting spider spits venom at its prey, and it does so with astonishing precision. From a distance of up to 30 centimeters, it fires 2 zigzagging streams of venom mixed with silk from its chelicerae. This cocktail instantly adheres to the victim and immobilizes it. The spider does this without fail, even in complete darkness. The entire process, from decision to shot, takes 120 of a second. The spider is so far-sighted that it even closes its own eyes before firing to protect them from the spray. To me, spiders have always seemed special among small creatures. I've never killed them. I'd find them at home, catch them with a glass, and carry them out. It seemed somehow wrong to kill such a master. I remember one summer at the Dhaka watching a grasshopper. A huge web was stretched between 2 currant bushes, right at face level. I caught a large grasshopper and threw it into the web. The spider reacted instantly, literally running up in 3 seconds and, in a few more, wrapping the grasshopper in a dense cocoon of web. The grasshopper was 3 times larger than the spider. It was a mesmerizing sight. Such speed, such precision, such cold-bloodedness. I realized then that we greatly underestimate these creatures. All spiders are predators, with one exception. The Bagheera Kiplingi spider, named after the panther from the Jungle Book, lives in Central America. It feeds primarily on specialized feeding bodies of acacia trees, small structures on the tips of leaves rich in fats and proteins. Plant food makes up about 90% of its diet. It is the only herbivorous spider known to scientists in the world. Spiders hunt not only on land. Fishing spiders of the genus Delamedes and related genera hunt directly from the surface of the water. They sense vibrations from the movement of insects and small fish through the surface tension of the water, as if through a web. Having located the prey, the spider quickly darts across the surface and seizes it. Some species are capable of diving and pursuing small fish underwater, holding a reserve of air on their body. Prey can be several times larger than the spider itself. Crab spiders, also known as crab spiders, hunt from ambush on flowers. They can change their body color to match the flower they're perched on, from white to yellow, and patiently wait for a bee or butterfly to arrive for nectar. The spider's reaction to an attack is so fast that the insect doesn't have time to react. The crab spider's venom instantly paralyzes its prey, even a bee comparable in size to its own. All other spiders have a similar and rather terrifying feeding method. After capturing its prey, the spider injects digestive enzymes into it through its chelicerae. These enzymes dissolve the victim's entrails right inside its body. The spider turns the prey into a liquid broth without opening it from the outside, then sucks this broth out through a small hole. Spiders don't chew. They can't eat solid food, only liquid. This is called extraintestinal digestion, and it allows the spider to extract nutrients very efficiently. All that remains of the prey is practically an empty shell. Spiders can go for long periods without food. Many species can survive for a month or longer without feeding. Large tarantulas can survive for up to 2 years if water is available. This is due to their very slow metabolism. When resting, a spider expends minimal energy. This is why a spider can sit motionless in the center of its web for hours. It doesn't sleep or rest as we know it. It simply operates in a minimal energy mode. The size of spider prey is astonishing. Large tropical species hunt not only insects but also small birds, frogs, lizards, mice, and small snakes. Tarantulas of the genus Theraphosus regularly catch birds while reaching their nests. There have been documented cases of large spiders eating bats entangled in the enormous webs of tropical species. If you found a large spider at home, tell me in the comments what you would do. Catch and release it, kill it, or run away yourself? I'm genuinely curious. Now on to the most frightening part. Venom and records. Here's where things get interesting. All spiders are venomous, except for two families, Ulabarrieta and Holarctidae. Every spider has venom. It's their primary hunting tool, but only about 200 of the 48,000 species are dangerous to humans. That's less than half of 1%. The chances of encountering a truly dangerous spider in most people's everyday lives are negligible. But when such an encounter does occur, the consequences can be very serious. The most venomous spider in the world is the Brazilian wandering spider, or Phoeutria. Its venom is more toxic than that of most other spiders. It attacks the nervous system, causing severe pain, respiratory failure, and can be fatal without treatment. This spider is also actively aggressive. It doesn't flee from danger, but instead rears up in a threatening stance on its hind legs and attacks. It is often found in bananas, fruit boxes, and houses. It does not build a web and actively wanders at night. Thousands of bites are recorded in Brazil each year, but deaths are rare. Antidotes are available in hospitals. Black Widow. The most famous venomous spider in the world, its fame has long since entered pop culture. Its venom is a neurotoxin that affects the neuromuscular junction. After a bite, a person initially feels a slight, almost imperceptible prick, but after 15-60 minutes, so-called laterodyness develops. A burning pain from the bite site begins to spread throughout the body. Muscle cramps, severe headache, nausea, and increased blood pressure are added. According to those who have suffered a bite, the pain is so severe that they are unable to find a tolerable position. Without treatment, the condition lasts for several days. With the antidote, it resolves within hours. The Karakut is our domestic black widow. It is found in the steppes of the Volga region, the North Caucasus, Crimea, and Central Asia. The small black spider with red spots on its body about 1.5 centimeters long is outwardly visible. Its venom is approximately 15 times more toxic than that of a rattlesnake. But the spider weighs so little that the dose administered during a bite is usually insufficient to cause death in an adult. However, without treatment, a black widow spider's bite is very dangerous. The main problem is that the bite is almost painless. At first, the person doesn't realize what has happened until an hour later, when severe symptoms begin. This is an Australian funnel web spider, the Sydney variety. Scientists consider it the most dangerous to humans due to the speed of its venom's action. Its venom specifically affects primates. It is relatively harmless to most other animals. Before the development of an antidote in 1981, it claimed the lives of 13 known victims. Since the antidote's introduction, not a single fatality has been recorded. The largest spider in the world is the leaf tarantula, native to the tropical rainforests of Venezuela and Brazil. Its body reaches 13 centimeters and its labial span is 30 centimeters. It weighs up to 170 grams. Despite its intimidating size and name, it rarely eats birds. Its diet consists primarily of insects, frogs, and small rodents. The leaf tarantula's venom is weaker than that of a wasp and is not dangerous to a healthy adult. Its defensive reaction is far more unpleasant. When threatened, the leaf tarantula rubs its abdomen with its hind legs, shaking off thousands of tiny hairs. These hairs, when they come into contact with mucous skin or eyes, cause severe irritation that lasts for hours. The smallest spider in the world has pedipalps, the Samoa patti. Its body is about 1/3 of a millimeter long. That's smaller than a dot on paper. It's virtually impossible to see with the naked eye. The vastest spider is the solpuk or camel spider, found in deserts from Africa to Central Asia. It can reach speeds of up to 16 kilometers per hour. Salpuks, incidentally, are not venomous in the strict sense. They lack venom glands. However, they do have enormous chelicerae, which make up to a third of their body length. With these chelicerae, the salpuk is capable of biting human skin, leaving a painful wound that can become infected without treatment. The jumping spider holds the record for the longest jump. Relative to their body size, they can leap 50 times their body length. For an average-sized person, this would be the equivalent of jumping 90 meters from a standing start. Before jumping, the spider attaches a safety line to the surface. If the jump is unsuccessful, it will not fall, but hang on to the line and pull itself back up. Let's move on to the spiders that live among us. Not in the tropics, not in Australia, but here in Russia. The common orb spider is perhaps the most recognizable spider in central Russia. In summer, its orb webs can be found in every garden, on every forest edge, near every fence. The white cross-shaped pattern of spots on its abdomen is its calling card. It is venomous, but its venom is virtually harmless to humans. At most, a slight redness from the bite disappears on its own within 24 hours. The female orb spider is the large spider you see in the center of the web. The male is much smaller and hides at the edge of the web or nearby. The house spider is a creature with which most of us literally live under the same roof, often without even knowing it. These grayish-brown, long-legged spiders build funnel webs in the corners of rooms, under bathtubs, in basements, and behind bookcases. They are completely safe for humans and absolutely beneficial. Each such spider consumes hundreds of flies, mosquitoes, woodlice, and other unwanted guests each year. A house with spiders is a healthier home, say entomologists. There are fewer disease-carrying insects. In the fall, spiders often enter houses, and this is explained simply. It's not the cold, as is commonly believed. Most house spiders don't tolerate frost at all and live year-round in the warmth of our apartments, never venturing outdoors. The autumn spider infestation is made up of adult spiders searching for females. Their hormonal cycle coincides with autumn. They begin actively wandering the perimeter of the house in search of a mate. After a few weeks, this activity ceases on its own. Fuckers hardly drink water in the traditional sense. They obtain most of their moisture from the bodies of their victims. Some species lick dewdrops from their webs in the morning. In dry conditions, spiders can orient their webs to maximize fånggaden capture. The threads condense moisture from the air, and the droplets flow toward the center where the spider drinks them. Engineers are studying this phenomenon to develop fog water harvesting systems in arid regions. Tarantulas are not exotic pet stores in Russia. The South Russian tarantula inhabits the steppes from the Volga region to the Far East. It is found in the Krasnodar, Krai, and Crimea. It is larger than house spiders, reaching up to 3.5 meters in body length, and lives in burrows up to half a meter deep, which it digs itself. It hunts at night, actively pursuing its prey. Tarantula bites are painful, causing swelling and inflammation along the bite site, accompanied by general malaise. Tarantulas are primarily dangerous to people with allergies. The black widow spider, which we already discussed in the section on poisons, is also a native Russian species. In recent decades, the black widow's range has been expanding northward with global warming. While previously found only in the steppes of southern Russia, they have now been recorded in the Moscow region and the Volga region. It's important to know. Harvestmen, those long-legged creatures often called daddy spiders or kosinushka spiders, are not actually spiders. They are arachnid relatives of spiders, but a separate order. They have neither venom nor spinnerets. The famous myth that the harvestman is the most venomous spider in the world, but too weak to bite human skin, is a complete fabrication. It has no venom at all. It could theoretically bite skin, but there's no reason for it to do so. This myth persists despite being disproven long ago. The silverfish spider is found in freshwater bodies of Russia. In the water, its scaly patch has a silvery sheen. This is air held by special hairs. It breathes this supply underwater and periodically rises to the surface for more. Its underwater airbell is smaller than that of the water spider, but it operates on the same principle. If you see a spider in your house, don't rush to kill it. This creature doesn't want to bite you. It's not interested in you at all, only in insects. One average house spider kills up to 200 flies and mosquitoes a year. By killing it, you're depriving yourself of a free 24-hour ally. Now let's talk about spider behavior. And here's where the most unexpected part begins. Jumping spiders are curious. This is a documented scientific fact. Scientists have observed them deliberately exploring unfamiliar objects, following moving objects with their eyes, and turning their heads to follow a person. When researchers pointed a camera at them, the jumping spiders looked directly into the lens. Some individuals showed obvious interest in their reflection in the mirror. This behavior is atypical for arachnids. Most respond only to threats or prey, but are capable of learning. Experiments have shown that jumping spiders are capable of solving problems in several steps, planning their route in advance. In one experiment, a spider had to climb a platform from which prey was visible, then descend to a point where the prey was out of sight, circle the structure, and climb back up the other side. The spider performed this route correctly, meaning it kept in mind the target it could no longer see and moved toward it. This requires working memory, an ability not typically attributed to arachnids. Glass spiders have an immune system, but it's structured differently from ours. Instead of antibodies, they use cellular mechanisms to fight infections. Remarkably, spiders rarely contract bacterial infections, despite their constant contact with decaying prey. Scientists are studying their antimicrobial mechanisms in search of new antibiotic compounds. Some spider species live in colonies. The South American spider Ankylosarcus eximius forms colonies of up to 50,000 individuals. They collaborate to build enormous webs several square meters in area, hanging over the forest canopy. They work together to hunt large insects that a single spider would be unable to overcome. They also raise their young together. Adult spiders indiscriminately feed any young in the colony, not just their own. This is a truly social organism, which is astonishing for creatures with a reputation for solitary behavior. The female Stegodivus pacificus spider performs something that can hardly be described as anything other than self-sacrifice. At first, she feeds her young by regurgitating nutritious fluid. This in itself is a significant investment. But when the number of young increases and nutrients become scarce, she lies in the center of the brood and allows the young to feed on her body. The young spiders bite her and consume her entrails. This process is called matrophagy. Biologically, this is beneficial. The mother invests everything in her offspring. But psychologically, this is difficult to comprehend. Males of many spiders perform complex ritual dances for the females. The jumping spider Hibernatus does this especially effectively. He vibrates his abdomen at a specific frequency, raises and waves his front legs in a strict rhythm, and turns sideways to display his bright markings. The female watches and evaluates. If the dance isn't good enough, she either drives him away or attacks. Scientists have discovered that females evaluate several parameters simultaneously: the rhythm of vibrations, the brightness of the coloration, and the precision of his movements. The more synchronized all three components are, the higher the male's chance of success. Eating the male after mating is greatly exaggerated in popular culture. Yes, in some species this happens, but males of most species survive well after mating. In mantis spiders, the male exposes himself to the female. Scientists have found that if the female eats the male during mating, the process lasts longer and the female receives more sperm. Moreover, by feeding on the male, the female produces more nutritious eggs. The male literally sacrifices himself for the sake of better offspring. Some spiders use deception against their own kind. The kleptoparasitic spider or thief spider of the genus Argyrodes lives in the webs of others. It is too small to build its own web and too weak to hunt independently. Therefore, it quietly enters the web of a larger spider and steals wrapped prey from it when the host is not looking. The larger spider usually doesn't notice it. It is too small. Sometimes there are several dozen such thieves in a single web. Top spiders communicate through vibration. Males of many species drum their feet on the surface or on their own bodies, producing vibrational signals that are transmitted through the soil or the web. Females hear these signals through sensitive hairs on their legs. Each species has its own unique vibrational code, a kind of Morse code. Scientists record these signals and translate them into sound. The resulting rhythmic tapping is unique to each species. Spiders can feign death. Some species freeze and fall to the ground when threatened. This is a classic thanatosis response. A predator expecting a fight or flight response often loses interest in a stationary object and moves away. The spider remains motionless for as long as necessary, sometimes several minutes, and only then slowly moves away. Some spiders are able to regenerate lost limbs. If a spider loses a leg, a new one grows during the next molt, although initially somewhat smaller. After several molts, the leg is completely restored. This amazing regenerative ability is not available to vertebrates and has attracted keen interest from biomedical researchers. Glass spiders respond to vibrations so sensitively that scientists have compared their sensitivity to that of professional musicians. Studies have shown that the spider can distinguish web vibrations that differ in frequency by a single hertz. This allows it to determine whether large or small prey has been caught in the web, whether it is simply the wind, or whether something is trying to steal the prey. Each type of vibration evokes a different response: attack, cautious exploration, or immobility. Spiders exist even where it would seem they have nothing to eat. Blind spiders live in lightless caves, feeding on rare insects and organic particles. In polar regions, spiders hunt during the short Arctic season and survive the winter in a state of slowed metabolism. On mountain tops, they catch wind-blown insects. This is one of the most common terrestrial creatures on Earth, precisely because it can survive anywhere. Spiders can dream. Scientists have observed jumping spiders at night exhibiting rapid limb movements, twitching, postural changes, a pattern reminiscent of REM sleep in mammals. Video recordings also showed their eye-shifting position inside their heads. Researchers cautiously speculate that spiders may experience something akin to dreaming, perhaps visual memories of hunting or other events of the day. Spider webs are electrically active. It's electrostatically charged, attracting insects that carry an electrical charge: bees, flies, and moths. When such an insect approaches the web, it's literally drawn to it. The threads bend slightly toward it, up to a few millimeters away. This is an additional prey capturing mechanism that spiders are likely unaware of. It works on its own. And finally, spiders and humans. This story is much more interesting than commonly thought. Arachnophobia is one of the 5 most common specific phobias. Scientists are still debating its origins. The evolutionary version. Our ancestors lived in the tropics for millions of years alongside venomous spiders, and an instinct to fear was passed down from generation to generation as a defense mechanism. The cultural version. Fear is formed in early childhood through parental reactions, books, and cartoons, and is reinforced until an encounter with a real spider. Studies show that in families where adults react calmly to spiders, children are less likely to develop arachnophobia. The popular myth is that humans swallow several spiders in their sleep every year. This is a complete fabrication. A sleeping person is a source of vibrations from their breath, warmth, and the smell of carbon dioxide. For a spider, all of these are signs of a large living creature, meaning they signal danger. A spider won't crawl into the mouth of a huge creature that breathes and moves. This myth was deliberately launched in 1993 to demonstrate how easily people accept absurd facts as truth. And it spread around the world precisely because it sounds plausible enough and unpleasant enough to be repeated. Spider venom is an actively developing area of medicine. A substance that lowers blood pressure has been isolated from the venom of the Brazilian wandering spider. Compounds with potential for treating heart disease have been obtained from the venom of the black widow spider. The venom of several tarantula species contains peptides that are being studied as painkillers and anti-epileptic agents. Scientists have isolated a protein from the venom of one Australian species that can protect brain neurons during a stroke. If administered within a few hours of the stroke, this discovery is considered one of the most promising in neuroscience in recent years. Humanity has been trying to artificially reproduce spider silk for half a century. The task is more complex than it seems. It's not just the protein, but also the special process of spinning the thread that forms the desired molecular structure. The first successes came in the early 21st century. Scientists inserted the spider silk gene into goats who began producing it in milk. Today, synthetic spider silk is produced in bioreactors and used in surgery. It is used to make suture threads that dissolve over time and as a base for tissue growth. The aviation and defense industries are studying it as an ultra-lightweight durable material for armor. Spiders have inspired engineers to create fundamentally new materials and technologies. The structure of spider webs has become a model for the design of ultra-strong cables for next-generation suspension bridges. The adhesion mechanism of spider legs has been replicated in the development of reusable adhesive tape, which can be applied and removed thousands of times without losing its properties. The spider's ability to sense vibrations through its body has inspired the development of a new type of seismic sensor. Spiders hold a special place in the folk traditions of many cultures. In West African mythology, the spider Anansi is a trickster, a keeper of stories and knowledge. In Greek mythology, Arachne, the master weaver, was transformed into a spider by the goddess Athena for her pride. This is the source of the name of the class of Arachnids Arachnida. In the Navajo culture, the spider woman is a creative deity who taught humans weaving. The image of the spider as a wise weaver creating complex connections between things is found throughout the world, and this is no coincidence. Spiders have been sent into space. In 1973, two orb web spiders, Arabella and Anita, lived on the Skype orbital station Michanayan. Scientists wanted to see if they could spin a web in zero gravity. On the first day, the web was deformed and irregular. But by the second day, Arabella began spinning a normal orb web, slightly thinner than on Earth, but geometrically correct. The spider had adapted to conditions that had never existed in its evolutionary history. Scientists estimate that all the world, spiders destroy between 400 and 800 million tons of insects annually. But this is more than the weight of all humankind. Without this pressure, insect pest populations would explode to a scale that conventional pesticides could not cope with. Spiders are a free, self-repairing, and round-the-clock biological defense system built into every ecosystem on the planet. And this is the creature we sometimes trample under our feet without thinking. One last interesting fact. Spiders don't have ears, but they hear. They don't have noses, but they smell through special receptors on their legs. They don't have a tongue, but they detect the chemical composition of the surfaces they walk on. This creature literally tastes the world with its feet. 8 legs, 8 senses, each of which perceives information inaccessible to us. In culture and art, spiders occupy a place disproportionate to their physical size. Jules and H.G. Wells wrote about giant spiders. Tolkien created the Shelob. In West African mythology, the spider Anansi, a trickster and keeper of stories whose tales cross the ocean with humans and live on to this day in Caribbean folklore. Spider-Man is one of the most recognizable characters in 21st century pop culture. A tiny creature that fits on a coin has managed to occupy an enormous place in the human imagination, and that in itself speaks to something important. Research in recent years is constantly revealing new things about spiders. In 2023, scientists advanced first recorded behavior in jumping spiders. Young individuals demonstrated repetitive movements without an obvious utilitarian purpose, which in animals is considered a sign of play. The question of whether spiders are capable of subjective feeling, experiencing something akin to curiosity, pleasure, or fear, remains open, and more scientists are leaning toward the answer. 100 facts behind us. If at the beginning of this video a spider seemed frightening and repulsive to you, I hope the picture has changed slightly now. This is a creature that has lived alongside humans for hundreds of millions of years. It doesn't hunt us, it means us no harm. It simply goes about its business quietly, methodically in the corners of our homes and deep in the forests. And it does it better than any engineer or biochemist we've ever created. If the information was useful, I would be grateful for your support. The Umani number is in the description. Thanks for watching.